Before we start, tell me where you're listening from in the comments. Maybe you're someone who has made money the purpose of your life. Maybe you think earning more money will solve all your problems. Maybe you believe rich people are just lucky or live in a different world. Or maybe you think success is measured only by the numbers in your bank account. This conversation is for you. I'm going to tell you a shocking truth. Money is not wealth. Money is just a tool. Real wealth is something completely different. And not understanding this truth causes millions of people to waste their lives. I learned this truth after the $1.5 billion PayPal sale. I had more money in my bank than I could ever dream of. But one day, I looked in the mirror and realized money wasn't making me happy. In fact, it was doing the opposite. It was emptying me inside. Today, I'll tell you what real wealth is. Why I invested billions in Tesla and SpaceX. Why I live a minimalist life. And most importantly, how your life will change when you stop chasing money. After listening to this conversation, your perspective on money will completely change. Because you'll understand that truly wealthy people aren't those who accumulate money, but those who create value. Money almost destroyed me. In 2002, when we sold PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion, my share was $165 million. At 31, I owned more money than I could spend in my lifetime. In the first days, I felt great freedom. I no longer worried about money. I could buy anything I wanted. Luxury cars, big houses, expensive watches. Society called me successful. I appeared on Forbes lists. Everyone congratulated me. But 3 months later, something strange started happening. I began waking up with a sense of purposelessness. I couldn't answer the question, what am I going to do now? Making money was no longer a motivation because I already had enough. For the first 6 months, I traveled the world. I stayed in the most luxurious hotels, ate at the most expensive restaurants, saw the most exotic places. But after each new experience, I returned to the same emptiness. One night, I was sitting in my Malibu house, looking at the Pacific Ocean. A $50 million house, perfect view, every kind of luxury. But I felt completely empty inside. That's when I realized money doesn't guarantee happiness. In fact, beyond a certain level, it can even make you unhappy. That night I asked myself this question. If I didn't have money, what would I want to do? The answer came clearly. Contribute to humanity's progress. Solve real problems. Make the world a better place. That's when I understood what real wealth was. What is real wealth? Real wealth is not money. Real wealth is these: 1. Problem-solving ability. The most valuable thing is your ability to solve difficult problems. This ability will never leave you poor. Because the world is always full of problems, and there's always a need for people who can solve these problems. After selling PayPal, I had not just money, but deep knowledge and experience in online payment systems. This knowledge was more valuable than money, because with this knowledge, I could solve other problems. When I founded Tesla, I had no automotive experience, but I had problem-solving experience. I could solve the problem of why aren't electric cars popular? Answer: because they're slow, ugly, and have short range. Then let's make electric cars that are fast, beautiful, and long range. When I founded SpaceX, I had no space experience. But again, I used my problem-solving approach. Why is going to space so expensive? Answer: because rockets are single-use. Then let's make reusable rockets. These examples show that money is temporary, but problem-solving ability is permanent. 2. Knowledge and learning capacity. The second real wealth: continuous learning capacity. In this world, the fastest thing to become obsolete is knowledge. But the ability to learn never becomes obsolete. I dedicate an average of 2 to 3 hours daily to reading books, research papers, technical documents. On days I make money and on days I lose it, because knowledge always offers me new opportunities. When founding Tesla, I knew nothing about battery technology. For 6 months, I learned everything about battery physics, chemistry, engineering. Thanks to this knowledge, we developed Tesla's battery technology. At SpaceX, I learned rocket technology from scratch. Thermodynamics, materials science, aerodynamics. I learned all of it from books and talking with experts. Learning capacity never leaves you behind in any field because you can understand the fundamental principles needed to succeed in every field. 3. Human relationships and trust. The third real wealth, trust and trustworthy relationships. The only thing you can't buy with money is genuine trust. After PayPal, many people tried to build relationships with me, but most had the real purpose of benefiting from my money. This was a very painful lesson. Money attracts fake friends, but can drive away real friends. After founding Tesla and SpaceX, I focused on working with few but genuine friends. People like Gwynne Shotwell, J.B. Straubel. These people work with me not just because I'm successful, but because we share common values. Trust is the most valuable currency of the economy. If you're trustworthy, people do business with you, invest in you, partner with you. If you lose trust, no matter how much money you have, your business won't work. 4. Creativity and innovation. The fourth real wealth, the ability to create new things. This ability will never leave you behind because the world constantly needs innovation. Money can kill creativity because if you have a lot of money, you might prefer easy ways. You might avoid taking risks. But creativity requires risk, requires experimentation, requires failure. When designing Tesla Roadster, I had a lot of money, but I had to be creative. Because there had never been a successful example of electric cars before, we had to design from scratch. When developing SpaceX Falcon 9, I could have copied existing rocket technologies. It would have been easier. But I chose to be creative. I tried something no one had tried before, like reusable rockets. Creativity is more valuable than money because creativity produces money, but money doesn't produce creativity. 5. Purpose and meaning. The fifth and most important real wealth, having meaning and purpose in your life. Money is not the goal, it's the tool. The real goal is to make the world a better place. After PayPal, when thinking about what to do with my money, I asked this question: what kind of world do I want to leave behind after my death? The answer was clear. A world using sustainable energy. A world where humanity has become a multi-planetary species. A world where artificial intelligence helps humanity instead of harming it. These purposes made me feel much richer than money, because now I knew why I woke up every morning. I wasn't working just for money, but for humanity. Why I spent my PayPal money. Most people in my position would have put that money in safe investments. Stocks, real estate, bonds. They would have lived comfortably with 7 to 10% annual returns. I invested all the money in Tesla and SpaceX. My friends said I was crazy. Why are you entering such risky sectors? They said. Because safe investments didn't make me happy. Money was producing money, but it wasn't producing meaning. What was meaningful for me was using this money to found companies that could change the world. The reason I invested in Tesla was to break fossil fuel dependency, to leave a cleaner world for future generations. This purpose was more valuable than the security money brought. The reason I invested in SpaceX was to take humanity out of being a single-planet species, to make going to Mars possible. This vision was more exciting than any investment return. In the end, these risky investments gave me much more valuable things than money: purpose, meaning, impact, and ironically, they also became the most profitable investments in the long run. The power of minimalist living. In 2020, I made a radical decision. I would sell all my houses and live minimally. Most people couldn't understand this. Why do you live like this when you have billions of dollars? Because possessions weren't making me free, they were enslaving me. I had 7 houses but lived in only one. I had 5 luxury cars but used only one. My closet was full of expensive clothes but I constantly wore the same things. These possessions weren't making me happy, they were creating stress instead. Maintaining, ensuring, protecting everything. It was consuming my time and energy. Now I live in a small house. I only own things I really need, and I feel much freer. Because I control possessions, possessions don't control me. Minimalist living taught me these. Less is abundance. The fewer things you own, the fewer things control you. Experiences are more valuable than possessions. Working on meaningful projects is more satisfying than owning an expensive watch. Freedom comes from ownership, not possession. Owning your time, energy, attention is more important than owning things. How to escape the money trap. Most people fall into the money trap. This trap works like this. They think more money makes them happier, so they constantly chase more money. But as money increases, expenses also increase. In the end, they still feel insufficient. This cycle continues forever. The way to escape this trap is understanding that money is just a tool. But a tool for what? A tool for freedom, choice, impact. Money gives freedom, but only to a certain point. After meeting your basic needs, extra money gives very little extra freedom. Money gives choice. The choice to do the work you want, live where you want, spend time with the people you want. But again, after a certain point, choices don't increase. Money gives impact. The impact of funding important projects, supporting valuable causes, changing the world. This is money's most valuable use. Accumulating money beyond these three purposes is meaningless. Money is not for keeping score. The formula for real happiness. My 20 years of experience taught me this. Happiness doesn't come from money. The formula for happiness is happiness equals purpose plus progress plus relationships plus health. Purpose. You must have a purpose in life that excites you, makes you wake up early. Electric transportation for Tesla. Mars colonization for SpaceX are my purposes. Progress. Getting a little better every day. Learning. Developing. A stagnant life brings unhappiness. Constant progress brings happiness. Relationships. Deep bonds with people who truly know you, value you, support you. This can't be bought with money. Health. Without physical and mental health, nothing else is meaningful. Don't sacrifice your health for money. When you have these four elements, money has very little importance. When you don't have these four elements, you'll be unhappy no matter how much money you have. The impact of creating value. When you focus on creating value instead of chasing money, an interesting thing happens. You make more money. But this time, money becomes a byproduct, not the goal. Tesla created value by producing electric cars. People gained cleaner transportation options. Environmental pollution decreased. Fossil fuel dependency decreased. This value creation increased Tesla's value. SpaceX created value by reducing space access costs by 90%. Satellite internet, space research, astronaut transportation became more affordable. This value creation increased SpaceX's value. When you focus on creating value, people want to work with you. Customers buy your product. Investors trust you. Money comes naturally. When you chase money, people stay away from you. Customers don't trust. Investors are suspicious. Money runs away. This paradox is real. The best way to get money is to forget about money. The real measure of wealth. Society measures wealth wrong. Forbes lists net worth, annual income. These are superficial indicators of wealth. Real wealth measures are these. Do you control your time? Do you set your own schedule or do others? Do you work with purpose? Does your work excite you or do you do it just for money? Are your relationships real? Do people love you for your money or your personality? Do you continue learning? Do you continue growing mentally? Do you create positive impact? Is the world a better place because of your existence? If you can answer yes to these questions, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. You are truly wealthy. What should we teach children about money? My children sometimes ask me, Dad, why do you have so much money? I answer like this, money is a tool, not a goal. Just like a hammer. The purpose of a hammer isn't to be a hammer, it's to make things. The purpose of money isn't to be money either, it's to do good things. What I teach my children about money. The only ethical way to make money is to create value. Accumulating money for the sake of accumulating is meaningless. Real security comes from abilities, not money. Generosity enriches more than greed. Money without purpose kills the soul. Children who grow up with these principles establish healthy relationships with money. Money doesn't control them, they control money. The wealth that comes from serving humanity. The greatest wealth comes from your contribution to humanity. No crisis, no market crash, no scammer can take this wealth from you. Having started the electric vehicle revolution through Tesla is more valuable than money, because I know my children will breathe cleaner air. Having reduced space costs through SpaceX is more valuable than money, because I know humanity is no longer limited to a single planet. Having given hope to paralyzed people to move again through Neuralink is more valuable than money, because I know there's hope for millions of people. These contributions give me satisfaction that no material gain could provide, because I know that even if I die, these works will continue and keep benefiting humanity. Conclusion: not money, value. If you're going to remember one thing from this conversation, let it be this: money is not wealth. Creating value is wealth. Money is temporary. You can lose it, it can be stolen, it can lose value. But the knowledge you learn, the relationships you build, the abilities you develop, the value you create, these are permanent. The world needs people who solve problems, not people who accumulate money. People who contribute to everyone's enrichment, not just those concerned with their own wealth. If you truly want to be wealthy, don't chase money. Create value, improve people's lives, find solutions to the world's problems. Then you'll see that money will come naturally. But more importantly, you'll feel truly wealthy. Share this video with everyone who has the wrong relationship with money. Subscribe because conversations about success and meaning will continue. And remember, the wealthiest person is not the one who accumulates the most money, but the one who creates the most value. Go and enrich the world with value, not money.